That down, let's move back on to what we're here to do, which is discuss movie news and stuff like that. This is interesting. Captain America Brave New World. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty disappointed with it. I thought Anthony Mackie deserved a better written film for him. I mean, I've always had my doubts that I don't think you should carry on the Captain America moniker without Steve Rogers. I don't like the idea of just different people picking up monikers. Steve Rogers defined what Captain America was. He is Captain America. You know, I often say Captain America is Steve Rogers is Captain America is Steve Rogers is Captain America, right? But Anthony Mackie's Sam character has been such a treasure in the MCU, and they did a good job kind of creating a transition with the end of now Endgame. At the end of Endgame, I almost said Doomsday again. With the end of Endgame and then with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they did the transition, but they just put together a pretty poor movie. Really, they put together a Hulk sequel, just took out Hulk and put in Sam, which was, I'll still never understand that rationale. The film also kind of struggled a bit at the box office. I mean, it made money that a lot of films would love to make. It made $415 million, but that's not great by Marvel standards, at any rate. Well, why did the film fail? Kevin Feige has a theory, and he says this. This comes to us from ScreenRant. Marvel boss blames Captain America Brave New World's failure on replacing Chris Evans. It goes on to talk about this. During a conversation about the MCU's future with members of the press, Marvel Studio President Kevin Feige, via Deadline, claimed that Captain America Brave New World's disappointing box office performance was because it was, quote-unquote, the first without Chris Evans. The Steve Rogers actor famously left the role behind in Avengers Endgame, where an older Steve gave Sam Wilson the shield. Okay. I have a couple of thoughts about this.
Well, me too.
First, let me preface it by saying there are very few people in Hollywood I respect as much as Kevin Feige. I mean, what he has been able to do, what he did, what he accomplished. Hollywood has never seen, nor will it ever seen, anything with the success of the MCU ever again, right? It's just remarkable. But that doesn't mean you don't have your odd bad days at the office, right? Everybody does, and that includes Kevin Feige. So when he says, well, it failed because this was the first one without Chris Evans, I have several thoughts on that. The first one being, no duh. What did you think was going to happen? Steve Rogers is Captain America. And now you're having a movie with, like, and I said this from the beginning when Endgame came, I said, look, you can't, remember the big debate was, should Bucky or should Sam be the next Captain America? My answer was no, neither, because neither are Captain America. Bucky is the Winter Soldier. Sam is Falcon. Steve Rogers is Captain America. And Steve Rogers is Chris Evans. If they wanted to recast it, that's fine, as long as it's still Steve Rogers. So that was kind of my one thought. So yeah, no kidding that people weren't interested in a movie, or a number of people weren't interested in a movie called Captain America. Like, it would have been better, honestly, call the movie Falcon Brave New World. That would have been a better movie and would have played better, I think. But anyway, so my first thought when I hear Kevin Feige said, well, the reason this movie struggles is because it was the first one without Chris Evans. Well, yeah, of course. Guess what? The next one isn't going to do any better. But my second thought is this, is that Kevin is only half right. Did some people not have interest in it because that's not actually Captain America? Yes. But the second part of that equation that he's leaving out is, as I alluded to at the beginning, when you have a guy as charismatic and as talented as Anthony Mackie, you give him a better vehicle. Give him a better movie. Because yes, a lot of people didn't go see it because it wasn't Chris Evans, but then a lot of people didn't want to go see it because they heard the movie was crap. And then people in general didn't go back to see it a second or third time because the movie was, now listen, this is not one of the worst Marvel movies yet. It's not, you know, it's better than Thor Love and Thunder. All right. It's better than Thor The Dark World. It's better than Iron Man 2. But it is one of their lower quality films. And again, it was a Hulk sequel. Just drop Sam Wilson into it for some reason. sure, some people didn't go see it because it wasn't Chris Evans, but Kevin, who you are amazing, but you also have to acknowledge Captain America Brave New World was not our best effort. That was not our best effort.
No, it felt like a Disney Plus movie. Like a movie made for Disney Plus.
It felt like something they put together with the haphazard intention of putting together a Disney Plus series. Yeah. Not one of their better ones, like Echo.
Great reviews would have pushed this over 500 mil.
Yeah, I mean, look, if people liked it and it had glowing reviews and people came out buzzing about it and all that kind of stuff like they did coming out of Black Panther, you would have seen more people getting attention. You would have seen people going back for second and third viewings, and when going back, bringing new people to come with them. But it just didn't. And one of the biggest crimes I worry about, Rob, one of the biggest crimes of that Captain America Brave New World film is I fear they may have damaged the Sam character.
Oh,
because this character can be gold for your franchise if you utilize him properly. And my fear is that they may have damaged the image of Sam Wilson's character, which is one of the really strong things they've got going for them right now. Anyway, Rob, you heard Kevin Feige mention that, you know, the reason the Captain America didn't do so well was because it was the first one without Chris Evans, as if the second one will make it any better.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. You know, it feels like workplace stress is higher than ever these days, and I was just reading that about 61% of the global workforce is dealing with above normal levels of stress, and honestly, it's not surprising. When you're stuck in endless Zoom meetings, juggling deadlines, or just trying to keep your head above water, it adds up. Now sure, a quick vacation sounds nice, but let's be real, it's not a long-term fix. What's helped me is building small wellness habits. For me, it's things like getting outside in the sun for a few minutes, or squeezing in a brisk walk during breaks. But for a lot of people, sometimes that's just not enough, and that's where therapy can really help. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform with over 30,000 therapists who've already helped over 5 million people worldwide. Their app is super convenient. You can meet with a therapist with just a click, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists anytime. And just listen to the user reviews. The BetterHelp app has a 4.9 out of 5 from over 1.7 million reviews. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea.
But I don't know. What's your response to that?
Well, I think you nailed it. I mean, the problem was it wasn't a very good movie. And it certainly wasn't a Captain America movie. It wasn't about Sam Wilson. And what I thought was, you know what I thought was a big mistake? And I think it was because of COVID. I think it was because of Disney Plus. The movie they should have gone with, a movie, should have been Falcon and Winter Soldier, and made it. The Captain America movies, if you look at them, were political thrillers. You look at Winter Soldier, it's an action film. You had in Sebastian Stan and Sam and Anthony Mackie,
who had great chemistry.
Yeah,
together.
You had Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yes.
And what you should have done
Yes.
is they all look at, you know, they make heist movies, they make political thrillers. They needed to do Lethal Weapon. They needed to do a buddy cop movie post Thanos. Captain America is gone. There's a void in the world. The world's kind of a mess. What they were trying to do with the TV series was fine, but it was not kick-ass. You should have looked at Lethal Weapon and Lethal Weapon 2 and said, here's two guys. Sebastian Stan, no, don't put him in therapy. He's an assassin. He's a broken man. And then you've got Falcon, who's living in the shadow of Captain America, and you've got these two guys that have their own issues. And they have the shadow of Steve Rogers behind them, and they have to go solve some shit. And then you've got Poser, Captain America. You had the elements there, and you could have done some awesome kick-ass combined Lethal Weapon and Lethal Weapon 2, and the whole thing is built on these two guys, kind of mismatched dudes, looking for themselves in a post-snap world. And what I don't understand is, and I get it, when they suddenly had to make TV shows, and then in the middle of Captain America or Falcon and Winter Soldier, the pandemic hit, and they had to rewrite it and all that. But no, what you should have done was a stripped-down, $100 million movie that was just kick-ass, practical action. Instead, why is the Red Hulk and President Jack Ryan and Harrison Ford and what's going on
and the leader
Josiah was they had the other Winter Soldier that needed redemption.
I was going to say this.
Sorry.
The best part of that movie,
Carl Lumbly
was one of the most underutilized thing of it. It was Carl Lumbly as Isaiah. Like,
how do you not delve? I mean, all of that. You had all of the elements, and it should have been a 2 hour and 20-minute kick-ass action
could
film.
you make that Riggs and Murtaugh movie you're talking
man.
about and have Isaiah there? I
Yes.
don't know, as the Joe Pesci, maybe kind of some
Well, no,
I was thinking more of the.
but he.
I was thinking more of the captain, like the police captain.
Yes, that's
Yeah, but he represents he represents the America that needs to be redeemed, or the world that needs to be redeemed. And
right.
he's a great character. And the fact that he was job done dirty in Brave New World. I mean, what they did to him was abhorrent.
But you know what I loved? Again, I thought he shone in that. And what I really loved about the way they used him in the new movie was, like, he's training Sam, right?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, like, yeah, you're Captain America now. I can still whoop your ass. And, like, even in the training sequence, their shows like, okay, this is Isaiah's still the man. How do you not use Carl Lumbly more in this movie?
They just made him like the confused boomer with the cell phone.
Yes!
Like, I don't know how a cell phone works.
Because the people writing, it's just, God, read a book, watch a movie before 1990.
No.
I mean, you look at this kind of stuff and you're thinking, at least I was thinking, I look at these, they had all the elements. And you know what? These two guys that are trying to figure out, what do we do in the wake of Captain America? You have another guy in Wyatt Russell who's trying to be Captain America, but never can be, because he didn't fight in World War II. He didn't do those things. So these three guys, they could have been at odds, and they weren't. They had all the elements in the TV show, but they should have made it into a movie. It could have been so good.
It certainly would have been better than Hulk 1.5.
Because what you're doing is, and if you're going to make a movie about Sam Wilson, make it about him.
Yes.
Make it about him. Make it about his journey.
And make it his story, don't hijack some other character's story in a half-hearted sequel.
And at the end of that movie, how great would it have been if he said, you know what? I know that Steve gave me this shield, but I'm not Captain America. I'll never be Captain America. I'm the Falcon. And end it, on that note, because nobody can be Captain America. Wyatt Russell becomes the U.S. agent or whatever, or Nomad, call him what you want. But it could have been something great where these three characters realize, in the wake of Steve Rogers gone, the three of us together, it takes the three of us to fulfill the mantle. One's a super soldier who's kind of a nutty assassin. One's a great soldier, and you're a poser that's trying to figure out your place in the world. But the three of us, that's where the new Avengers should have began.
Oh. Anyway,
Thank you,
what
Kevin
could have
Feige.
been-
I'm here all week.
What could have been, but anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about Kevin Feige's comments about that the reason that Captain America Brave New World failed was because it was the first one without Chris Evans? He's partially correct.
Of course.
He's partially right. But it's only kind of half the story on that. Anyway, guys, whatever you feel about it. Oh, what was it?
I was just going to say, you made a Black Panther movie without Black Panther that made a lot of money. They succeeded there, and you didn't have your star.
But only half of what the first one made.
But still, it was almost $1 billion.
It was almost 700 and something, or 800 and something. Again, it was about half. It dropped in half. You needed to make it his movie. Anyway, whatever you guys think about all this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.